Hello everybody, welcome to a brand new episode of Uncultured. My name is Spencer Walsh, welcome. And we have a great show for you today. As you may be able to tell by the title, we will be talking about Pop Smoke's posthumous album, and from a courtesy of a great new, or actually not new really at this point, but I believe it was made kind of in 2020. I actually don't know when it was officially released, but still, Pop Smoke, I do expect, will be timeless. And this is a guy who I think really just such a tragic ending, obviously. Could have became the king of New York, could have really led New York sound into the next generation. But obviously, as I'm sure you know, his life was cut tragically short about was it really a year ago? Wow. In a home invasion, literally almost a year, like I think next week or 2 weeks from now or something like that. Yeah, don't trust me to do that. But we're going to talk about him today and an intriguing versus battle put forward by Swiss Beats. And of course, we will have a new mix for you, but you're going to stick around for that because that won't be coming until around 30 minutes in. So, yeah, just keep an eye out for when we get to that, because trust me, we will. It's not Uncultured without the mix. We are, of course, the best mix show in the game. All right, so wasting no more time now. Let's get into it, because this is, again, written by Eric Skelton, Sean Sotaro, and Jessica McKinney, and a great little spread they have up there on Complex about this whole make with this cool design and all that. It was just by Warren Cochran. So, yeah, good for him. Yeah, a team pretty much after conquering New York City, Pop Smoke really plotted to take over the world. Then tragedy struck. In the wake of his death, a team of collaborators set out to fulfill his final wishes and release an album that would own the summer. And yeah, so this is kind of all how it came to be. April 2019 was Pop Smoke was in a New York City office building, signing his first recording contract, celebrating the occasion with his new label boss, Steven Victor. He was asked, how long have you been rapping, by the 39-year-old music executive. The truth was Pop Smoke had only been rapping for a few months, so he deflected the question and offered up a new piece of information, saying, quote, I used to sing before rapping, sang in the church. And actually, it is kind of interesting. You see a lot of guys on the big, I know Frank Ocean, we talked about him. He had some church experience, or no. No, I think he said he was intimidated of all the people who sung in church, if I remember from the profile we did of him a few months ago. But Victor, he was pretty intrigued. The 39-year-old music executive had been keeping a close eye on the emerging drill scene in Brooklyn for months. When his associate Rico Beats introduced him to Bashar Jackson, a kid from Canarsie with an impossibly deep voice and hard-hitting drill records, Victor jumped at the chance to sign him to his new venture, Victor Worldwide. But this revelation about Pop's background as a singer came as a bit of a surprise. Eager to show off his hidden talent, Pop queued up an unreleased song called Something Special and played it through the office speakers in ear-splitting volume. Victor sat back and listened to his new signee sing the lyrics to Tamia's 1998 R&B hit "So Into You" with unexpected ease. And like, yeah, this was kind of the thing where he had this like light bulb moment. It's like, hey, we really got something. You're probably going to feel a little bit better about that big contract you just signed, that kind of young up-and-comer to, when you find out, oh yeah, he can kind of sing as well. Yeah, so Shivam Pandya, a director of artist management at Victor, remembers hearing the song blasting through the walls of the office that day. Young artists came through to play music all the time, but this stood out above the others. When I heard the song, I was just like, who this? I want to hear this song again, he recalls. Hearing this raw, gruffy voice on the beautiful instrumental was amazing. That's my favorite type of music. People who can't really sing that well, but they have a voice that's non-traditional, and it works. Then, of course, he played a song called What You Know About Love. Of course, you know it because everybody knows it at this point, which was anchored by a sample of Genuine's Differences and showed more of the young rapper's ear for melody. At this point, it was clear to Victor and everyone else in the room that Pop was more than just another drill rapper from Brooklyn. Stephen Victor's gears were turning. Having worked closely with Kanye West as COO of Good Music, he understood that many of rap's most successful artists had been responsible for ushering new sounds into the mainstream. So he hatched a plan. Pop Smoke would release a series of mixtapes that focused solely on Brooklyn drill sound, raw, gritty street rap with bass-heavy production. As I'm sure you probably know, Meet the Woo 2. Like, you can kind of see these projects, see these gears turning. And Pop Smoke, really more than anything, that was what put him on the map, and that was how he was able to really get into top success. Welcome to the Party, I believe, was one of the first big. I think that's how kind of he first came on my radar as a music fan. But yeah. The plan was then, once Pop was an established star with his own signature style, he would deliver a debut album that showed his melodic side with bigger, more commercial songs like Something Special. Pop would need to be patient, but when the time was right, he would get a chance to reveal the full scope of his talents. But he had to build that brand first. The first steps of the plan worked even better than anyone expected. Within just a few months of that meeting, his 808 Mellow-produced single, Welcome to the Party. Woo! Yeah, I can't do it. But I can't sing it as well. But it's just, it's such an iconic sound of the last two odd years, right? Because it came in 2019, obviously. And then, of course, you got Dior and PTSD. Brooklyn drill was quickly becoming the hottest new sound in the country. Even Drake and Travis Scott were hopping on the wave, and Pop was undeniably the face of the movement, just as Victor had planned. With recording signature songs like Christopher Walking and Shake the Room, Pop couldn't help experiment with music that strayed far from drill, like the Mustard-produced West Coast Shit featuring Tyga. Faithfully following Victor's strategy, though, he understood he still had more work to do, so he tucked those songs away and kept them for the debut album. For the time being, he put his head down and stayed focused on his next mixtape, Meet the Woo 2. We would have gone to Meet the Woo 5 if we had to, in order to make it to the point where he was established enough to have a #1 record and have global impact. He was fine, and I was fine with that taking however long. We were going to go all the way there with the drill shit because it was a new sound, and it was a sound that, if you stick to that lane, if you stick to the drill lane, you can still do pretty damn well for yourself. That is a really potential potent sound. How can you not listen to some of those songs like Christopher Walking, Dior, really just feel them? They really hit you in a way that I would even argue some of his more melodic songs don't even reach that same level. I'm gonna put it out there. We don't even really know. So that is I guess it's just your own opinion, but technically, I guess just your own opinion. But it obviously did not take 5 mixtapes to get to that point. But by early 2020, following the release of the second mixtape, everyone knew Pop was ready for the next phase of the plan. Now 20 years old, he was spending his time in the Bahamas with A-list producers, sitting down for deep conversations with his idol 50 Cent, and hanging out at Paris Fashion Week with Virgil Abloh and Quavo. Successfully bringing a new sound to his city, and really, this guy was, I swear, which makes his tragic death so hard to take, he was going to bring the New York City sound. He was set up to bring that New York City sound. He was set to carry it into the next generation. He would define New York if he had stayed around for years, a generation. I'm sure of it. But yeah, by this time, it was finally time for his commercial debut. The album is a classic. It's super sad because this kid was going to be a superstar, says Stephen Victor. And I have to agree. By mid-February 2020, Pop Smoke flew out to Los Angeles on a mission to record as much music for the album as possible. Near the end of the trip, he was in good spirits, cracking jokes in the studio with his go-to producer, 808 Mellow, making songs with Christian King Combs. Nearly a year after that fateful meeting in Stephen Victor's office, he could sense they were closing in on the most exciting part of the plan. He was about to reveal to the world what he was really capable of. On February 19th, 2020, at 4:30 a.m., Bashar Jackson was shot and killed by an intruder at his rental home in Hollywood. The murder remains unsolved. Just like that, a bright young talent was taken from the world at age 20. Pop Smoke was deprived of the chance to witness the release of his debut album, leaving Stephen Victor and the rest of his inner circle the responsibility of finishing what Pop Smoke had started. Over the next 4 months, Pop's team would work tirelessly to make sure the late rapper's wishes were fulfilled and his debut album was out in time for the summer. With a little help from co-executive producer 50 Cent and dozens of contributions, Stephen Victor made it a personal mission to carry out the final stage of the plan he devised with Pop. On July 3rd, the 19-song album Shoot for the Stars, Aim for the Moon arrived, finally revealing all of Pop Smoke's colors to the world. In the words of 40 collaborators who helped bring it to life, including 50 Cent, Quavo, Roddy Ricch, Future, Tyga, Sway Lee, Karol G, and Stephen Victor, this is the story behind Pop Smoke's posthumous debut album. And of course, we're going to have a lot of stuff here. So this is Stephen. It's kind of an oral history of Stephen Victor here. He said, the idea for the debut album was always for it to showcase his overall talent and go number one. The goal was to have global impact. Jess Jackson, the engineer, said that we had just been thinking of Meet the Woo 2 like, that's the mixtape. We're going to knock this out real quick and put that to bed, and then we're going to get another real album. We were so excited for the debut album because it was going to be tenfold the quality of Meet the Woo. He was like, man, the next one's going to be fire. We're going to take over the world. Pusha T, even weighing on here. Of course, all these quotes are courtesy of Complex. He said, after getting his feet wet in the mixtape circuit and having all the success with those records. No, I can't try. He's got that, gravelly voice there in a little bit. Pusha T. But, yeah, he says his mind was set already in where he was going next. He wanted people to see he was maturing musically. That was a big goal with this project. Again, expanding out. So he's not just that one drill guy. That's not who he was. Victor again here. Pop and I always had the same conversation about the debut album. Meet the Woo and Meet the Woo 2 are each one thought. And the album was supposed to be a series of thoughts. It was supposed to be the whole picture of what he could do musically and creatively. It's the whole picture of what's in his mind and in his heart. The mixtapes were just one sound, and the album is where he could get those different thoughts out so people could get to know him. Swerve, the producer, says people used to say that he needed to switch things up more, but they weren't sure if he could do other genres. Whether it's a 50 Cent type vibe or slow R&B songs or drill, this proves a lot of people wrong. Pop wasn't always dead set on the drill shit, Stephen Victor says. He was like, yo, I got all types of records. I want to make global music. I don't want to just be a local artist. I know what kind of debut album he wanted to make. He wanted to have some Afro shit on there. He wanted to have singing shit on there. He wanted to have drill music on there. He just wanted to have a bit of his personality all over the albums. Again, multiple thoughts. That is, that's a big thing. So, yeah. So Ziara Diamond Nimrod, manager of marketing strategy at Republic Records, said he just wanted to make music for everyone. He wanted to give the ladies love songs to vibe to just as much as he wanted to give the hood something they could relate to. And yeah, I think he pretty much accomplished it on Shoot for the Stars. I mean, look at if you just pull up the track list here, just to give you really at the end, you got Aim for the Moon, For the Night. I played that song going out, I think a few weeks ago. And it was just like such a, I think this is the deluxe, but yeah, Gangsta. You got songs like Creature, The Woo, 50 Cent with Roddy Ricch. That song definitely clearly meant a lot to him there. Teaming up with 50 Cent and Roddy Ricch for a really kind of big triumphant return. And you got kind of the lady love songs. What You Know About Love. And then Diana with King Combs there. I Got It On Me. You can't help it once you see the title of some of these certain songs, it's like it instinctually like makes you think, like just pops up in your head. It's uncontrollable. But yeah. Yeah, you got Hello with A Boogie with Hoodie, another big New York star who could have been, I think, very kind of a dual threat from New York with Pop Smoke. And it's very, very interesting. Yeah, he was really ready to expand, Tyga says here, and go global with sound. He wanted to make more chick records and more melodic songs. 50 Cent said that Pop evolved into a whole other thing. This album musically has more depth to it than those tapes. Those tapes were for him to assert himself. Those early records were defining for him and his lifestyle and everything else around him. After Dior came out, there were 3 other records that felt very similar on that tape with the same tempo and drums. But by the time this record came out, it's a whole different vibe. Shivam Pandya, again, the general manager at Victor Worldwide, said, Pop would always say, I got 5 number ones just sitting here on the phone. He was so confident about it. It's kind of impressive.